leadoff pop-up. Petrocelli will take it. He does. The ball game is over. Deep to right field. Number 44.
The year of the impossible dream. I really believe it's the year I fell in love with sports. And I fell in love with baseball, and I fell in love with the Boston Red Sox. It was hard not to.
Red Sox Nation wasn't the way it is today.
And he is out at the plate. He is out at home.
I think that was the event that springboarded it.
That is the dividing line in Red Sox history.
It forever changed everything about the Red Sox and the way we think of them.
The Red Sox played the entire year like a team with absolutely nothing to lose.
They were really all in it together, and they were the impossible dream.
Today, the Boston Red Sox are the toast of New England. With a long-awaited World Series win in 2004 and a shot to win it almost every year, fans pack Fenway for each and every game. But folks, things weren't always so rosy on Yawkey Way.
Ted Williams once said, all the American League has is me and the Yankees, and when I go, the league's going to be pretty damn dull. Well, he could have added as a corollary, and when I go, I'm taking baseball interest in Boston with me.
The Red Sox weren't even the most popular team in Boston, as nearly every year Red Auerbach Celtics raised a new championship banner to the Garden rafters.
1960s was what you call a dark age in Red Sox history.
In those days, I think tennis was more popular than the Red Sox.
They were at the bottom, absolutely the bottom.
Oh, God, it was awful. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. From 1961 to 1965, which is when I was growing up, they were terrible. I mean, they finished an average of 23 games behind whoever it was in first place.
It never occurred to me they could be even a 500 team. That would have been beyond my wildest dreams if the Red Sox won as many as they lost.
They were about as low as Grand Canyon.
Conigliaro backing up. It is in the seats for a home run. Number 4 for Maris.
They were annually finished in 8th and 9th place in a 10-team league. Capable of losing 100 games, a million games behind the Yankees every year, and it was just a really hard time.
Scott at first, Smith at second, Petrocelli at short, Foy at third, Yastrzemski, Demeter, and Thomas in the outfield from left to right. The Yankees lead 3-0.
It was a very relaxing experience to go out to the ballpark for an afternoon game, Wednesday or Thursday, and just relax. There was one right field corner, was the gambler's corner, where guys were betting on every pitch. Nothing like today, nothing at all.
There was a game in 1965 toward the end of the season when less than 600 paying customers, came to Fenway Park to watch a major league game.
It's strange to look back and see the pictures of Fenway Park in the early 60s, mid-60s, empty.
Today, you couldn't even imagine seeing even empty seats in Fenway Park today, let alone drawing 1,000 people for a game.
Interest in the team was waning, and owner Tom Yawkey thought a new ballpark might be the solution.
Tom Yawkey hated the park, thought it was an old dump, and he needed a new, bigger ballpark. And though he never threatened to leave, he was rattling his saber to a degree that he wanted the politicians to help him out.
Well, you could understand why there was a move afoot to get rid of Fenway Park, because it wasn't a moneymaker. It just wasn't. It was too small.
There wasn't the affection that there is now. Now it's like a Gothic cathedral, and people, you almost expect them to cross themselves as they enter, or genuflect, or something like that.
Now it's a pantheon. Now it's the place that everybody talks about as the best park in baseball. For 50 or 60 years, it was the worst park in baseball.
Sure, blame Fenway. Anything to distract us from the dreadful 1966 squad. Battered by the American League, the Sox went 72-90, avoiding last place by only a half game.
There she goes. Over everything. Home run for Killebrew. Home run call over.
We endured a long, cold off-season with little to look forward to for the upcoming '67 campaign. But to the few faithful who were paying attention, there had been glimmers of hope in Fenway.
For Tony Conigliaro, and Yastrzemski is going to third. Mantle watching this one. High off the wall. Yastrzemski at second base with a double. Oliva going back, and he's not going to get this one. Rico Petrocelli has come through with a grand slam home run. Deep left field, Berry's looking up. Home run.
There was a young crop of players that played better in the second half of the year, and the few diehards who were into it, as they always had been, were saying, hey, you know, we have pretty good young players here. We might have something. But no, most people weren't paying attention.
I'd like to meet one person who said when the 1967 season started, you know what I think? I think the Red Sox are going to the World Series.
Gentlemen, we're very pleased to introduce a fellow that is known to all of you, our new manager, a man we think will do a great job for the Boston Red Sox. We're looking forward to the coming season immediately. Dick Williams.
Thank you, Dick. Being here is quite a pleasure, I'll tell you. I've had 2 years' experience managing. I consider this quite a challenge. Sully and I will do a lot of talking in the next few days, along with Dick. And the only thing I can tell you right now, I'll guarantee you we'll have a hustling ball club, and they won't quit.
They brought in a new guy who immediately was a boot camp drill sergeant. The change transformed the, if you will, a word we didn't use then, but we would use now, culture of the team.
I believe there should only be one chief, or in this case, 5 chiefs, the manager and the coaches. I believe the players should put out to the best of their ability, and I'll try to get the best out of each player. Now, if that's being tough, then I would be tough.
With the new skipper at the helm, Red Sox players were greeted in Winter Haven, Florida by a new attitude. Williams immediately put his young ball club to work, doing things his way with no apologies.
Today was the first day that the outfielders have thrown, and we had cutoff plays and subsequent rundown plays with the pitchers doing the running. I will say this, the pitchers felt it a little in their legs this afternoon. Dick Williams came in, he was young, and he had that flat top haircut, and he kicked butt in spring training. Tomorrow we'll do it, tomorrow will be a little better. The next day we'll do it, we'll be a little better then. The thing is, you don't run a set of fundamentals and tell them how you want it done just one time and then say, well, that's it for the spring. You've got to keep doing this.
Spring training, there was actually a changing of guard regarding the Williamses, who were viewed in the hierarchy of the Red Sox. Ted Williams was very critical of Dick Williams' handling of the pitching staff and the fact that Dick Williams wanted them playing volleyball when they weren't working out. Word got back to Dick Williams that Ted was sort of stomping around and complaining about this. And within a day, Ted Williams had packed his bags and said he was out of training camp, he was going to fish.
Dick, this is a very busy camp. You've got everybody doing something. How about telling us some of the different things that you have for gimmicks here, if you want to call them gimmicks, for getting everybody in shape?
Well, I would say, Don, the only gimmick we have, and it makes it a little more enjoyable for the pitchers, is to get them to do their work without them realizing it and have some fun at the same time. We put a volleyball court down the left field line on the main field.
All of a sudden, there was a different atmosphere.
The atmosphere may have changed, but there were still plenty of questions that needed to be answered.
And here, of course, they had George Scott. Which is the better first baseman of the two? Are you satisfied with Rico Petrocelli as shortstop? Is Mike Andrews ready to step in and play with this club? How about Reggie Smith? Will he be your center fielder next year? Would you trade for a catcher? Was there any particular manager that you admired and whom you might copy yourself after in any way?
Nobody's job was safe on this team. as each position had to be earned. That even included veteran left fielder Carl Yastrzemski, who was stripped of his captaincy during the offseason. But with a talented batch of new rookies poised to challenge him, Yaz had dedicated himself in the offseason like never before.
Give Carl Yastrzemski credit for recognizing at the conclusion of the '66 season that he was squandering his potential, that he was not fulfilling his destiny as an athlete, that there was something he could do better. And what he did was contract the services of a physical fitness teacher named Gene Birdie.
Gene Birdie, that's right. He got to be a star. Gene Birdie got to be a star about halfway through the year.
Everyone is talking about Carl Yastrzemski and how strong he is and what a difference 1 year made. And he says that you're the reason. Tell me about the first time you met Carl Yastrzemski. What was the first thing you had him do, skip rope?
We started a little calisthenics, and between the calisthenics do some skip ropes. That's, he make about half minute, and he was groggy, almost knockout.
So what did you say to him?
I said, I am surprised you are a big athlete, and you can jump even a half minute. You know what you are? You are nobody in Hungary.
He may have been a nobody in Hungary, but Yaz was poised to become a superstar in Boston. And so was his teammate, shortstop Rico Petrocelli.
Have you done anything to condition yourself for this?
I've been doing a lot of running right now, and that's about the only thing I could do.
How about for the arm? Have you done anything with weights or anything?
No, just rest, and it feels real good.
And how about for your physical condition for the year? I know it bothers you occasionally. Sometimes you feel so you can't go on, don't feel good physically. Do you think that...
I guess I'm around 160 pounds, you know, and I'm so tired. But I think with this few extra pounds, I'll be a lot stronger, be able to go all the way. Yeah, a little lasagna at Tony's house during Christmas helped out.
Tony was our beloved Tony Conigliaro. With his ferocious swing and matinee looks, he was Boston's answer to Mickey Mantle, except Tony C. was a hometown guy.
Well, see, Tony Conigliaro was ours. That's how everybody in New England felt.
Local kid from Swampscott came in, hit a home run his first time in Fenway, which was a sign of things to come.
As far as we were concerned, Tony C. was destined for one thing, immortality.
He was young, he was local, he was handsome, he was terrifically talented.
I can remember as a 7-year-old thinking, wow, he's handsome.
He seemed to enjoy himself playing.
As far as the Hall of Fame, that would be nice someday, but right now I'm worrying about batting 300 this year and hitting my 35 home run.
He made disposable pop records.
I had the copy of Little Red Scooter myself.
You can always go back to singing, right?
And if I flop, I can start singing, yeah.
But Tony C. had no plans of flopping. And in 1967, he was expecting to further establish his growing legend in Boston.
Well, this year I was talking to Bobby Doerr, and he told me not to set any sights. He said, just go out there and play ball, because he says a lot of times when let's say you set a goal for 40 home runs, you may have, let's say, 32 with a month to go in the season, and you start pressing for your goal rather than just taking a natural swing. So this season, I did say earlier I'd like to hit 40 home runs. In fact, I'd like to hit 100, you know that. But I'm just going to go out there and try to have a good all-around season.
A good all-around season for the Sox would mean using the best players possible regardless of color. This is something that hadn't always been the case around Fenway.
The Red Sox really have a shameful past with a racist outlook.
Remember, while the curse of the Bambino is sort of an imaginary thing, the curse of Jackie Robinson, the curse of Tom Yawkey are very real and had a very serious impact on the franchise for 30 years.
You didn't see a lot of black faces until Dick O'Connell started calling the shots for personnel. And then you had this influx of black players who were good players, Joe Foy, Reggie Smith, George Scott, and on down. I will say they'll all be given an equal shot at a position. Well, if I've got something there, Don, I'm not going to tell you now.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
This new batch of young players expected to win right away and weren't shy about letting you know.
I want to win, and I've been fortunate enough to have been on winners in the past couple of years in my minor league career, so I've gotten to somewhat used to winning, and I want to win.
There's no fear about the glove, huh?
There's no fear about the glove, Don, and there's no fear about me playing in the big league. I think I can play up here.
As training camp came to a close and bags were packed for Fenway, Red Sox management were the first to voice their belief.
I think the next season will be a much better season than the past season, Don. In fact, we're looking forward to it and planning on it.
I think we got some good ability on the ball club, and I just think we're going to move along pretty good.
Will you make a prediction for the 1967 Red Sox?
I honestly think we'll win more ball games than we lose.
The thing that I thought was so great about 1967 was when they started, nobody was expecting anything.
Even as the season began, even as with Dick Williams as the manager, it didn't really drum up a lot of interest. A lot of people thought, well, they're just the same mediocre team that we've known for the last dozen years. Why bother to go? So even opening day was not a big deal in 1967.
There was a lot of apathy. I think there was only 8,000 or 10,000 people at the opening game. The Red Sox just were not relevant.
I don't know. People say they were, I don't know, were they officially 100-1? So let's say they were 100-1. I can't prove whatever they were, 78.5-1, 123 and third to 1, they were not on the radar screen when the season started.
And of those who were paying attention, who had heard of a rookie pitcher named Billy Rohr?
It was the first game the Red Sox played against the Yankees in April of '67, and he had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning.
And Carl Yastrzemski made the greatest catch I've ever seen on a baseball field.
Rohr winds. Here it comes. Fly ball to deep left. Yastrzemski is going hard. Way back, way back. And he dives and makes a tremendous catch.
Flat out, going away from the plate, full dive, snow cone in the mid.
Had a sensational play by Yastrzemski. Here's Pepitone. Popped up. Conigliaro's coming in. 2 outs. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Base hit.
A no-hitter wasn't in the cards for the rookie Rohr that April afternoon.
The pitch to Smith. Fly ball into right field. Conigliaro makes the catch and the ball game is over. And the Red Sox bench unloads as they come out to greet Billy Rohr, a one-hitter in his first major league start.
But the young lefty gave us a glimpse of the magic that was to come in 1967.
If the 67 season was an opera, and it was operatic, the Billy Rohr one-hitter was the overture to the opera.
Base hit to right. Here comes Tony. Here comes George. And the Red Sox have won it.
Drive to right field deep. Let's see. It is in there for a home run, and Yastrzemski in the 9th inning has tied it up.
When the curtain rose on the 67 season, the Red Sox performed in perfect pitch, ending April tied atop the AL. But with any great opera comes inevitable conflict, as a stretch of sour notes quickly dropped the Sox to just a few games above 500. But the team's no-nonsense maestro took swift action to get his young ball club back in tune.
If you made an error, Dick Williams had a propensity to come by your locker and do the press conference about how we lost by your locker, and he made you feel diminished.
Called George Scott, the first baseman, a cement head.
Williams even went so far as to bench Yaz.
One thing about Dick Williams, the difference between Dick Williams and Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer had a doghouse. Dick Williams had a doghouse, but Dick Williams has had doors on it and windows that you could get out of.
Yes, he was rubbing his head when he left the field.
It wouldn't be long before Yaz and the Red Sox regained their edge. They not only began to win over their manager, but the residents of New England as well.
So there it goes to left. Hey, those fried eggs paid off. Look at that.
A lanky Californian named Jim Lonborg harnessed his talent and emerged as the best pitcher in baseball that season.
Breaking ball got him. got him. Mike Avery's coming in for this one. Peterson holds at third, and it's out at first. Andrews for this one. Over to Scott. And Lonborg has won it. Wow, look at that.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Jim Lonborg's nickname was Gentleman Jim because anyone that's ever met him off the field would tell you that he's exactly that. He was a gentleman. He was a tall, stately man, impeccable manners.
Well, Gentleman Jim fell under the tutelage of Sal LaBarbera Magley as the pitching coach. Sal Magley was only known as sort of the 5 o'clock shadow with an attitude who would mow you down, you know, would just throw one over your head if you crowded the plate. And their collaborative effort was that Lonborg, who had tremendous talent and stuff, started throwing inside and getting a little mean.
Brushing you off, knocking you off the plate, and hitting you if he had to in a game.
And it would be that same tenacity on the mound that would help bond the 1967 team together.
Joe Foy.
When teammate Joe Foy was beaned by the Yankees, Lonborg only had one course of action.
Ooh. Tillotson will go to first. And he and Lonborg are exchanging words now. And some of the Yankees are starting to come out of the dugout, just a step or so. Ralph Houk, Joe Pepitone, now Joe Foy's in it. And the umpires are converging as Foy went over to get toward Tillotson. The Yankee ball club is out there, and they're starting to slowly come out of the Red Sox dugout now. Petrocelli hollering over at Pepitone. And it's getting hot. There goes Pepitone as they go to it here at Yankee Stadium. Out of the bullpens, they're coming now. Both bullpens out. And they're trying to restore order. That is Petrocelli that you saw.
Few things fire up a Red Sox team like a brawl with the Yankees. A slumbering giant was awoken in New England as the All-Star break approached.
The All-Star game break came, and this surprising team sent 4 of its players to the big game at Anaheim. Yastrzemski, Lonborg, Petrocelli, and Conigliaro.
It won't last, said the experts. They haven't got the speed. But it's All-Star break. And for heaven's sake, we're just 6 from the lead.
The summer of '67 was a strange and exhilarating time. With the war in Vietnam escalating, the hippie counterculture movement had arrived in the hub.
Oh dear, there were anti-war protests. Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King would be assassinated the following year. Tough times for the United States.
It was a transitional moment in America, and I remember very distinctly a lot of protests taking place.
But with all that was going on, an entire region's attention was beginning to focus on the boys playing in the fens.
Oh, socially, it was enormous, very big. But somehow, the Red Sox trumped all that in Boston, Massachusetts, I can promise you that.
It became, for the first time in my lifetime, part of everyone's life to turn on the radio, turn on the TV, how they do last night, check the morning papers, the box scores. It was really important, and they were in the race. And the idea that the Red Sox were in a pennant race is something I'd never experienced in my whole life.
Outsiders such as myself, who had a residual love of baseball but had not cared about the Red Sox, suddenly cared a lot, and we knew everything.
Most of us tuned in to 850 on the dial, WHDH, hearing the action through the radio and seeing it play out in our minds.
That was how everybody followed the Red Sox, was on the radio. I don't know of any other way how you would, because you were raking the yard. Your dad was raking the yard and the radio was on.
Baseball on the radio is such
a peaceful, romantic storytelling part of the game.
And it made sports a little more fun because you had to imagine what was happening. You weren't seeing it. So you were sitting there wherever you were trying to imagine what it looked like when Yaz made a great catch or hit a home run.
And what we heard on our radios that summer would be impossible to forget. In the heat of July, the Red Sox won 10 in a row, sending all of New England into a tizzy.
Back to friendly Fenway. A hot streak in July. Pennant fever's setting in and the fever's running high.
It's sort of like that part of The Wizard of Oz where the film goes from a very nice sepia tone black and white to living color.
Line drive to Foy over to second. And on to first base. Triple play. High fly ball to left field. Will Willie have room? He don't. Into the netting for a home run. Well hit to left. And that's going to be a great catch by Yastrzemski. In the right field. He struck him out, and the ball game is over.
Everybody has that summer that they would cite as the best one they ever had. That was mine.
My dad was a wonderful fan, and my brother Bob was a number fan, and it was really the last time we were all together. So it had special memories for me in so many different ways.
In August, I said to the editor, Tom, I've got to go on the road with the Red Sox, and I've got to write Red Sox every day. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, this is catching on.
In the summer of 1967, I was accepted to Harvard and lived in Boston for the first time in my life.
Well stroked to left field. That's fair ball, and that is going to be gone. A home run.
And I was a baseball fan, so I got swept up in the excitement of the impossible dream season.
A double and a triple in 3 trips. And this one may go for at least 2, maybe more. Tony going around second base.
I think I was cutting lawns and working at the church, sweeping out the benches and the pews and following the Sox every night.
Line drive toward Thomas. He's got it, and the Red Sox do it again as they down the Cleveland Indians on a superb pitching job turned in by Lee Stang. You can win them in your own yard. Can you win them on the road? Just watch them go. 10 in a row. The whole team shares the load.
When the streaking Sox returned home on July 23rd, thousands of adoring fans greeted them at Logan Airport. It was the first time the team had won 10 straight since 1951. It's fair to say Red Sox Nation, as we know it today, was born on the Logan tarmac that hot summer night.
I happened to be here for that whole summer and so happy and so glad that I was around for this because it was a transforming experience.
The Sox continue to surprise their fans with unsung heroes like Jerry Adair and Jose Tartabull making key contributions.
The Red Sox are doing what?
It is deep. It is gone.
No, I don't believe it.
Line drive to right. Conigliaro makes the catch, and the Red Sox win it.
Oh, my God.
Long drive to left field by Joe Foy, and this one is a grand slam home run.
It was the summer of love all around the country, and in our town it was a summer of following Red Sox baseball.
As the season lengthens into August, the Red Sox refuse to fold. The pitching comes through to pick them up whenever their bats grow cold. Sure, the Tigers lead. Chicago has speed, and the Twins still have Oliva. But with Yaz and Scott and what we've got, just feel that pennant fever.
As August 1967 began, the Red Sox were hot. They were 12 games above 500 and only 2 games out of first place.
For the Tigers. Nice stop by Scott. Over to Stang. They've got him.
There's a drive into right field. Caught by Tarnable. Runner tags. Here's the throw home. And he is out.
But this roller coaster season would take another sharp drop as the Sox lost 9 of their next 13 games. And on August 18th, it came to a screeching halt.
August 18th was a strange evening.
August 18th, 67, which was a Friday night game.
It was the first game of a 4-game series against the Angels on Friday night, and Gary Bell was pitching a no-hitter into a perfect game into the 5th.
It was Tony C's fearless style to hang over the plate until the very last moment.
Well, the main thing in hitting, I think, is to wait and just wait until you see what's coming. Now, if it's a change-up, if you wait until you can see the ball, then take a real quick swing, you're all right. I think I would start having trouble if I attack the ball sooner than I do. I attack the ball at the last moment. That's why I'm able to hit that changeup.
He hung over the plate, was notorious, had been hit and hurt before.
The pitcher was Jack Hamilton.
Tony barely moved.
Happened on the radio, as so much of that season did. And I remember the radio just went dead quiet. It really was a kind of devastating moment. It's a sickening film. I mean, I would never compare the import of events, but it's a Zapruder film of baseball. I mean, he really looks like he's dead.
Then one August night, the kid in right lies sprawling in the dirt. The fastball struck him square. He's down. Tony's badly hurt.
That was the end of Tony C for the season.
It was a terrible, terrible loss for just not only the team, but for the city. I mean, it was just it just grabbed at the city's heart that one of their own, went down the way he did.
He was one of us. He was a local kid who was playing for the Red Sox, hitting home runs and doing it at the age of 19. And to have him extracted from it was really a shame.
The doctors say he'll be okay, but he won't be back this year. With Tony through, what can they do? Who'll carry them from here?
Carl Yastrzemski, number 8, would be the man to answer that call, putting on a late-season performance that was nothing short of legendary.
All of a sudden, it's as if he's made a Faustian bargain, and it's lights out from there on in.
Tempatone after this one. He's not going to get it.
Right up the middle, whacked into center field.
He simply became the most charismatic one-season player the Red Sox had ever known.
It might be. It's in the nets for a home run.
Outstanding player. Outstanding. You take Yastrzemski, they always make comparisons because Ted Williams was the greatest hitter that ever lived. You watch this man, how he prepared himself. Yastrzemski was the same way, but I would have to say he was a miniature of Ted.
Yaz just stood up and said, "All right, fellas, jump on my back." And he carried him on home.
Well hit. Deep towards center field and gone.
One of the great things about Yaz's performance in '67 is that statistics only sort of scratch the surface of it.
Well hit toward left center. It is out of here. Home run. And on he goes.
But it's one of these things that's sort of like, what notes did Charlie Parker play when he and Dizzy Gillespie played at Carnegie Hall? I don't know. All I know is that CD still sends fire out of the speakers. It still crackles.
He could do no wrong. I started calling him St. Yaz.
Double play. Well hit to left. And that's going to be a great catch by Yastrzemski. You saw it.
Dick Williams will say it's the greatest season you ever saw a man have. It came to the point where you totally expected Yaz to make the big play.
Line drive, base hit into the corner.
It just seemed like every time they needed a clutch hit, a big play, he did it.
I remember late in the season, we were in Detroit, and Larry Claflin, who was one of the baseball writers at the time, it's late inning, and we're in the press box. He's had a few pops, and he yells down, and I don't know if Yastrzemski heard him. He said, "If you're the goddamn most valuable player, hit a home run," which he did.
There's a long one to left.
Won the game.
Horton going over, and it's in the screen for a home run.
It was just seeing a guy come into his prime, winning the Triple Crown, the last Triple Crown that's been won in baseball.
What really makes him special, I think, is that how well-rounded it was. You know, his defense was incredible. If you look back at some of the video of those plays he made, just incredible breaks and leaving his feet and sacrificing his body to make plays when the game was on the line.
Right to left field, Yaz going. He makes a diving catch.
You want to really admire your heroes. This Yaz was just one of a kind.
And then the thing that year was Big Yaz bread. Did you know about that? It was terrible bread. White bread.
Here he was, the heir to Ted Williams, who never was going to surmount that mountaintop, was never going to be Ted. But for a season, it was even better. He was a combination of Joe Hardy and Roy Hobbs. Amazing.
Throughout the remainder of August and September, St. Yaz and the Red Sox charged toward the postseason, persevering through an incredible 4-team pennant race that would come right down to the wire.
The days grow few. We're down to 2 at home against the Twins. We must win both. The dream is through if Minnesota wins.
With Detroit and Chicago also still in the hunt, the Red Sox hosted the first-place Twins on September 30th, still 1 game out with just 2 to play. Hanging on to a 1-run lead in the 7th inning, guess who got things done?
Deep to right field. Number 44.
The Red Sox and Twins were now tied for first place, setting up a winner-take-all game on the final day of the season. Gentleman Jim Lonborg would be on the mound looking for his 22nd win in the American League pennant.
And now it's down to just 1 game. Win it or you're through. Just 1 more game to clinch a tie. The impossible dream come true.
The standings tell the story. Tell it at a glance. To clinch at least a pennant tie, the Sox must beat Dean Chance.
Hi, everybody. This is Kurt Gowdy, along with Pee Wee Reese and Sandy Koufax. And today, Sunday makes the year. Never in the history of the American League have 3 teams gone to the last day of the season with a chance to win the pennant. And that's the way it is here today. Pee-wee, what do you think about it all?
Kurt, I think it's wonderful, and I'm just happy that I can be a part of it. I don't know about the players being a little nervous, but old Pee-wee is just being up here.
Down 2-0 in the 6th, it was Jim Lonborg, of all people, who finally got things started against Dean Chance.
Pitched a 4-hit shutout so far. Good bunt. And he can't play it. Will hold at second. 2 on, none out. A big moment in the ballgame for the Red Sox right now. Swinging away, base hit to left. Lonborg being held at third base, and they're loaded up.
With the bases loaded, we once again put our faith in number 8.
Bases loaded, nobody out. I remember sitting there thinking, I've never been as sure of anything in my life regarding athletics, but Yaz is going to get a hit.
Base hit to center. Lonborg scores. Adair will score.
And he ripped the shot right up the middle to tie the game.
The Red Sox ended up scoring 5 runs in that inning and took a 5-2 lead against Dean Chance, who was one of the best pitchers in the American League that year.
The Red Sox carried a 5-3 lead into the 9th inning. The game and baseball history were in Jim Lonborg's hands.
Hit to Andrews. takes Ulander for one to throw to first in time. A double play.
This day and age, to be a closer, be no drama. Oh, no. It was 1967. He was finishing that game.
Little soft pop-up. Petrocelli will take it. He does. The ball game is over. The Red Sox win it. And what a mob on this field. They're coming out of the stands from all over. They're just mobbing Jim Lonborg. And what a day this is. Azona Tomyaki, along with Haywood Sullivan. And what excitement we have here in Fenway Park.
But that wasn't the end of the story. The Red Sox had actually only clinched a tie for the pennant, simply because the Detroit Tigers had won the first game at home against the California Angels.
Having clinched only a tie for the American League pennant, the Sox needed Detroit to lose to claim the pennant outright. Players and fans alike had to simply wait and listen.
So the ball club sat in the clubhouse, eagerly listening to the radio to find out their fate, and the rest of us went home.
I went upstairs and listened to it on the radio. Whatever the local affiliate was, picked up the Detroit feed for us.
I was in my dorm. I was actually listening to that game.
Again to the locker room. Remember, the Tigers still have a chance to tie. Here is the magic moment as the clubhouse radio told an anxious audience it was pennant, not playoff, for the remarkable Red Sox.
You had it all the way, huh? Had it all the way, just like we've had them all year long. We've fought from behind all year long, and they did it again today. Here's the man with the fantastic hand. Did great out there today. And Rico, you look like you feel pretty good.
Oh, I feel great right now. I tell you, it's the greatest thrill I've ever had.
7 for 8 in the final 2 biggest games of your life. You're too much. I was trying best I could, Don, and I had something going for me. I wanted to win it for Mr. Yawkey. He deserved it. Hottie, what do you think? Can we beat St. Louis?
I really think so. I think the kind of momentum that we've had all year, if we're gonna win the American League pennant, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go all the way and win the World Series.
Lonborg and the Red Sox fell short of winning that World Series in '67, despite rallying from a 3-games-to-1 hole to force a decisive 7th game against the Cardinals. But it didn't matter. Our team had already done the impossible.
There was no sorrow or disgrace or embarrassment about that World Series. That was one case where just getting there was enough. It was certainly enough for us.
Nobody felt ashamed that this team lost in 7 games to the St. Louis Cardinals, much less to Bob Gibson. People were proud of that team.
And the Red Sox had done something glorious by winning the American League pennant, by being the best team over the 162 and probably the best American League pennant race since 1908.
The 1967 Boston Red Sox triggered a religious devotion in New England, and in doing so, they made everything possible again for baseball in Boston.
It was a renaissance. Red Sox Nation is what it is today because of 1967.
They transformed the Red Sox from something that you paid little attention to something that you were now forced to pay attention to if you were a sports fan, and it has never changed. It's only gotten better.
I would say that the fans, after that ball game was over with, and the fans began to pile on the field, I never seen anything like this. This shows you a great deal of sports fans that you have in Boston, and I think it's very important because they back the ball club 100%. And for as the ball players, I think this is one of the finest bunch of fellas I've ever played with.
I was glad to be part of it.
For 1 year, it's not just lightning in a bottle. I mean, they caught lightning in a thimble.
The story of what happened will long be told around Boston, for it is a story worth the telling. You'd have to call it, really, a love story. An affair twixt a town and a team. A town that had waited and waited for what seemed an impossible dream.
The 1967 team was revolutionary. It taught us to believe in impossible dreams.
To dream is to go to a place where you can make things happen with your mind. In this case, it was happening on the field.
It just excited all of us in a way which was very, very special. We'll never forget.